The security guard's hand felt heavy on my shoulder as he guided me through the sleek lobby of Turner Technologies. My colleagues, former colleagues now, watched in shocked silence as I was marched past their desks, clutching a small box of personal belongings. "Keep walking," Jane called from her office doorway, not even trying to hide her satisfaction. "And don't bother trying to defend yourself. The evidence is quite clear. My name is Sarah Chen, and at 32, I was being fired from my position as lead product developer at one of Silicon Valley's most promising startups. The reason? Supposedly, I had leaked confidential product designs to our biggest competitor. But Jane Parker, my colleague of 3 years, had no idea she was walking into a trap I'd spent months preparing. As the glass doors closed behind me, I caught one last glimpse of Jane's triumphant smile. She thought she'd won, thought she finally eliminated the obstacle to her advancement. What she didn't know was that for the past 6 months, I'd been documenting her every move. It started with small things, missing files from my computer, project timelines mysteriously changed, crucial emails that never reached their recipients. At first, I thought I was being paranoid. Jane had always been competitive, but sabotage seemed extreme even for her. Then came the meeting that changed everything. I'd forgotten my laptop charger in the conference room late one evening and returned to find Jane in an intense discussion with Marcus Reynolds, VP of Development at our biggest rival, Nexus Systems. I ducked behind a pillar, my heart racing as I heard Jane's words clearly through the partially open door. "Once Sarah's gone, you'll have everything you need. The Augustine Project will be completely vulnerable." The Augustine Project, my baby, the revolutionary AI system I'd been developing for 2 years. That's when I knew I had to protect myself. I pulled out my phone as I walked to my car, checking the encrypted folder where I'd stored everything. Video footage from hidden cameras I'd installed in my office after the first signs of tampering. Audio recordings of Jane's clandestine meetings captured by the modified smartwatch I'd started wearing. Email trails showing systematic attempts to undermine my work, all traced back to an IP address that wouldn't lead to my home network. A text lit up my screen. "Mark from Matt. She's trying to access your old files. Should I activate Protocol Delta?" "Yes," I replied, a small smile playing at my lips. Protocol Delta was a trap we'd set up weeks ago, a fake set of project files that would leave a clear digital trail back to the source of the leak. Back to Jane. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from David, my contact at the FBI's Cybercrimes Division. "Everything's in place. Give the word and we move." I took one last look at the Turner Technologies building before starting my car. Jane had played her hand perfectly, building a case against me for months. The fabricated evidence she'd planted, the whisper campaign she'd started among our colleagues, the careful manipulation of our project data. It was almost admirable in its thoroughness. What she hadn't counted on was that I'd seen it coming from the beginning. Every move she'd made had only strengthened my position, adding to the mountain of evidence I collected. She thought today was her victory, but it was really just the start of her downfall. The next morning, I sat in a quiet cafe across from Turner Technologies, watching the chaos unfold through the wall of windows. FBI agents moved in and out of the building while employees gathered in small clusters, whispering among themselves. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since dawn. First came the panicked text from Jane. "What did you do? The FBI is here. We need to talk. Now." Then messages from colleagues. "Oh my God, Sarah, we had no idea. They're going through Jane's computer. Why didn't you tell us?" I sipped my coffee calmly, remembering the moment everything had clicked into place 3 months ago. I'd been working late, reviewing security footage from my hidden cameras, when I noticed something odd. Jane wasn't just meeting with Marcus Reynolds from Nexus Systems, she was meeting with representatives from 3 other competing companies. That's when I realized this wasn't just about corporate espionage. Jane was playing a bigger game, selling our technology to multiple bidders while setting me up to take the fall. My phone lit up with a call from Agent Wilson. "It's done," she said without preamble. "We've seized her devices and found everything exactly where you said it would be. The encryption keys were in her desk drawer, just like you predicted." I smiled, thinking about Jane's predictable habit of writing down passwords she couldn't remember. And the offshore accounts? Frozen. We've traced transfers from 4 different tech companies. She was busy. Just then, I watched Jane being escorted out of the building, her designer suit wrinkled, her perfect hair disheveled. No security guard's hand on her shoulder. Instead, she was flanked by FBI agents, her hands cuffed behind her back. My phone buzzed again, this time from Marcus Reynolds himself. I'm prepared to cooperate fully. Jane misled us about the source of the information. Of course she had. Jane had probably told each company they were getting an exclusive deal, playing them against each other while collecting payments from all of them. Richard Turner, the company's CEO, was next to call. Sarah, he said, his voice heavy with regret. We owe you an apology, a big one. Yes, I replied simply. You do. The board is meeting in an hour. We want you back, obviously, with a promotion and full control of the Augustine project. I watched as more FBI agents emerged from the building carrying boxes of evidence. I'll think about it. Sarah, please. You've been crucial to this company's success. What Jane did, we should have seen it. Should have questioned things when she brought those allegations against you. I thought about all the late nights I'd spent building the Augustine project, the breakthroughs and setbacks, the moments of doubt and triumph. I thought about how quickly they believed Jane's lies, how easily they discarded my years of loyalty. You know what the worst part was? I said finally, not that Jane betrayed me. I expected that from her. It was that none of you, not one person in leadership, stopped to ask why a developer with my track record would suddenly turn corporate spy. Silence on the other end of the line. I'll have my lawyer contact you about the terms of my return. I continued. Things will need to change. 1 month later, I stood in front of Turner Technologies' board of directors, presenting the completed Augustine project. The same conference room where I'd been accused of corporate espionage now felt different, smaller somehow, less intimidating. The AI system is fully operational, I explained, clicking through my presentation. And thanks to the security protocols we implemented after the incident, it's now completely tamper-proof. Richard Turner nodded approvingly from his seat at the head of the table. The past month had brought massive changes to the company's leadership structure. 3 board members had resigned after their connections to Jane's schemes came to light. The head of security had been replaced, and I had been promoted to Chief Technology Officer with a seat on the board. My phone buzzed quietly, a message from Agent Wilson. Jane took the plea deal. She's naming names. Your testimony won't be needed. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The investigation had revealed just how deep Jane's betrayal went. She hadn't just been selling our technology. She'd been orchestrating a complex web of corporate espionage involving multiple tech companies. The evidence I gathered had unraveled schemes going back years. Sarah, Richard's voice pulled me back to the present. The board has reviewed your proposal for restructuring the development team. We're prepared to approve it immediately. I looked around the room at the faces watching me, some familiar, some new. The old guard who had doubted me were gone, replaced by people who understood the value of integrity over office politics. Actually, I said, setting down my presentation remote, I have a counter-proposal. The room went quiet. I pulled up a new slide, one I prepared just that morning. Jane's actions exposed more than just corporate espionage. They revealed fundamental flaws in how we operate. The ease with which she manipulated our systems, turned colleagues against each other, and nearly destroyed years of work. It all points to a culture that needs to change. I clicked to the next slide, showing my plan for a complete organizational overhaul. New transparency protocols, enhanced security measures, regular external audits, but most importantly, a revised company culture that valued collaboration over competition. The Augustine project isn't just an AI system, I continued. It's a chance to redefine how we work, how we trust, how we build things together. Later that afternoon, I walked through the office, noticing how different everything felt. Jane's old office had been converted into a collaborative workspace. Her nameplate, once prominently displayed, was gone, replaced by a team board where developers shared ideas freely. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus Reynolds, now a cooperating witness. Nexus Systems Board just resigned. The industry is in chaos. I smiled, remembering Jane's words as I was escorted out that day. No one will hire you after this scandal. She had been so certain of her victory, so confident in her ability to destroy me, that she never stopped to consider she might be the architect of her own downfall. In my new office, The CTO's office. I found a small package on my desk. Inside was a framed photograph of me with my development team, taken the day we first launched the Augustine Project's prototype. Before Jane's betrayal, before the investigation, before everything changed. Below it was a note from Richard. You didn't just save the project. You saved our company's soul. I placed the photo on my wall, next to my new board member credentials. A reminder not just of what I'd overcome, but of what I built from the ashes of betrayal. That evening, as I prepared to leave, I received one final message, an email from Jane's prison account. I underestimated you. I never saw it coming. I didn't respond. Instead, I gathered my team for our evening development meeting. As I looked around at their faces, eager and trusting, I realized something important. Jane had tried to destroy me by exploiting the trust I placed in others. Instead, she had only proven why that trust, when placed in the right people, was so powerful. The Augustine Project was officially launching next week. Our stock was at an all-time high. And more importantly, we had built something that couldn't be stolen or sold. A team founded on integrity, transparency, and genuine collaboration. As I drove home that night, I thought about how different things could have been if I hadn't trusted my instincts, hadn't prepared for Jane's betrayal. Sometimes the best defense isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about being ready to rebuild something better from the ruins of betrayal. Jane had wanted to kill my career. Instead, she had only succeeded in making me stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Sometimes I realized your greatest victories come disguised as your worst defeats. The next morning, as I walked into Turner Technologies, my employee badge now reading Chief Technology Officer, I couldn't help but smile. Jane had tried to write the ending to my story, but instead, she had only set the stage for its real beginning. And this time, I was writing it on my own terms.